Oh, this one's gonna get copy struck. Star Wars has been a lot of things for a lot of people. It's been good, it's been bad, it's been a cartoon for babies, it's been a deep political thriller that everyone should watch. Yeah, I'm one of those Andor guys.
Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
But one thing Star Wars has never been is consistent, even when it comes to the content of the original films. By now, I think everyone knows about the ever-changing Star Wars original trilogy, and weirdly one of the prequels. Look, I'm not for CGI replacing everything, but yeah, young Yoda looks fucked. Over the years, the original 3 films have been remastered and re-released to no end, all with itty-bitty changes made here and there.
That's the way theirs goes. Ours goes that little bitty change. It's not the same.
Ranging from minor graphical updates or changes in sound effects, redubbing or recasting to keep the films in line with more modern interpretations.
He's no good to me dead. He's no good to me dead.
To full scenes being completely added or changed into nightmare fuel. And look, some of these changes are welcome. Replacing the old horrible-looking Emperor with Ian McDiarmid, great choice. Keeps it more in line with the following film, and eventually even the prequels. And yes, Episode 9, I guess.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Cloud City looks much more open and like it's actually a city in the clouds, as well as tightening some effects on lightsabers here and there. All changes, while not strictly necessary, do help with the immersion of the film, especially these days. However, we aren't here to talk about those. We want to see the stinkers. I want to talk about a few that kind of break little things in the universe or actively make the films worse. One change that, in my opinion, fundamentally misunderstands what Star Wars is and what it means. But first, why does it make the film worse? I've narrowed the bad changes into a few categories that maybe a few of these changes fall into one or two of them, but that final change covers the whole spectrum. So first, the needless additions. One of the more recent changes to any of these films added some extra dialogue. Kind of. I think a lot of people would expect this to be the change that ruined all of the films for me, but oh no, the change that I've got is so much worse than that. That being said, the added no is god-awful. There was something so special about that silence. The way Vader turned to look at his son and his mentor before, without a word, picking the Emperor up, saving his son, and throwing him into the reactor, I think? Into the ominous hole. Got a lot of people falling down into ominous holes in this series. It's a thing. But now, in a move that I think they were intending to... Damn it, I forgot. Damn it, I forgot. But now, in a move that I think was meant to add to the drama, they actually robbed the original of its power. It robs Vader of his quiet, stoic choice. Maybe it's just me. He knows it's the right thing to do, but he's silently grieving his master. It was at least up to some sort of interpretation of what was going through his mind at this moment. But now it's just a big yell, and that's really lame. I also think they reused it from when he, turned into Vader. So, I mean, I guess that's something where, the same scream of him turning into Vader is also the same scream he uses when he comes out of Vader. It's not good, though. It's still not good. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. No! Category 2. Something that looks weird. I'm still not used to what my arms are doing in YouTube yet, so forgive me for just, flailing around.
No! Allow him! Who need that?
Everyone knows Jedi rocks. Everyone hates Jedi rocks. We do love Max Rebo, though, by his new singles.
But I ain't spending any time on it.
Other than to reiterate that in Star Wars, music is often called jizz, okay? Star Wars jazz is jizz, and that's awesome. Moving on. Oh yeah, and the CGI is dated, a fair bit, and it doesn't really fit into the rest of the movie. Sorry, that was my actual point with bringing up this, but I just get distracted by jizz. Wait. You would also kill me if I didn't mention that Han shot first. And how they had to make him break his neck to avoid Greedo's blast not only looks terrible, but also undermines the change that Han goes through from scoundrel to hero. Hey, which funnily enough, that's my final point. Undermining characters.
Behold the Underminer!
The other Han scene that I want to talk about is the addition of Jabba. This isn't the big final one, it's just another one that I want to talk about. Which, look, I have a similar problem with the prequels in this regard. It spoils the reveal. Throughout A New Hope and Empire, you keep hearing rumblings of this Jabba the Hutt.
Tell Jabba that I've got his money.
You don't really know what he is, what he looks like, just that he's a slimy crime boss. Get it? I said slimy. Because slimy he is. That moment in Jabba's palace when he's first revealed. God, it's just horrific. It's hard to live up to 2 movies of hype, and yet here we are. He is somehow more disgusting than I'd ever have imagined. So having him just walk around Mos Eisley, that'd just kind of ruin the whole thing, right? Right? Why? Why would you do this? What service does it have to this film? There's nothing new that we learn from this scene, and if we don't learn anything, it shouldn't be here. And God, him just like stepping over the tail, it looks terrible. The other examples of spoiling the reveals, I should say, is having Yoda pop up in the prequels. I don't like that very much. It spoils the whole reveal in Empire when he's a weird little goblin for a while before revealing who he really is. I love that moment, it blew my mind as a kid. And that reveal is really spoilt. If you watch the films in chronological order, you kind of already know who Yoda is. But none of these are what you're here for. You're here for the worst change. The change that I think fundamentally misunderstands the story and the point of Star Wars. Something that manages to encapsulate all 3 of the categories that I just went through. A moment that I have seen some people describe as their favorite change to any Star Wars film. And these people are wrong. And look, maybe you won't agree, and that's fine, but for my money, and I got like $4 to spend, the worst change to any Star Wars movie is Hayden Christensen replacing Sebastian Shaw at the end of Return of the Jedi, and it's not even close. But why, Donut? I hear you cry. Seeing Hayden again is so cool and important. You babies who value nostalgia over good filmmaking tell me he's coming back as a Jedi. You cretins who hate storytelling scream. He's really handsome and beautiful though. You very correct, but still foolish fools explain. I get it, okay? But just hear me out. I mentioned needless additions, and this guy? That's the king of them. Other than George Lucas, who was screaming for this change? And it's not only a needless addition, but it's one that actively doesn't make sense in universe. Luke saw Anakin Skywalker die in the Darth Vader suit as an old man. He saw the face of Sebastian Shaw. He saw the true face of his father for the first time. The audience sees the battle-scarred, wounded face of Anakin Skywalker for the first time. We all see the face of Sebastian Shaw. So then, if I'm Luke, looking over at the 2 people that I know really well, who the fuck is that guy? Suddenly, some kid who's literally younger than me at the time just appears. Who is that? The scene has so much more power to me when we see the face of an older Anakin, as he would be if he had never turned to the dark side. Finally being the father he never could be to Luke. And he's been through a lot. Since we just saw his scarred face, seeing the healed and healthy spirit is somewhat cathartic. Plus, Luke would recognize him as opposed to this guy with really good hair. I'm actually okay with Hayden returning in something like the Ahsoka show. She is seeing Anakin as she remembered him. But Luke never met young Anakin. He only knows the old, weary man in the suit. But look, maybe that's not how Force ghosts work. And we'll get back to this point, okay? I promise. We'll come back to it. But first, my second point was that it looks weird. This, I'll be honest, is my smallest complaint with this scene. I still think it does look weird for one very specific reason. And let's be honest, we've all heard it. There are constant jokes as to why Anakin gets to Benjamin Button his way into the afterlife, while these 2 guys are stuck looking like cloud yellers.
We're not getting any younger. Oh, you special edition mother. Up yours?
It looks really dumb, and it raises a lot of questions about how the Force works. And unfortunately, this leads us into the biggest reason I don't think this change works. How do Force ghosts work? My interpretation, and maybe I'm wrong, is that only light side users can become Force ghosts. The Sith, now they can somehow return, but ghosties seem pretty unique to the light side. There might be some extra material stuff that I'm not looking at, and I honestly can't be bothered to Google, so let's just pretend for now that they are unique to the light side. Although, to be honest, that doesn't even matter for my point. Don't worry about it. No, it does. I have seen some people argue that the reason Anakin is back to his young, hot self is because he reverts back to the last moment that he was a Jedi, his final moment in the light before he was taken by the dark side. George Lucas has apparently said something very similar himself.
Inner person would go back to where we left it off. So when you come back to the good side of the Force, that it's your former persona that survives, not the Darth Vader persona.
Except, that's not where we left Anakin. This is where we left Anakin Skywalker.
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You already have.
His final act was not that of Darth Vader, it was of Anakin Skywalker. The removal of his helmet is literally the most unsubtle representation of him shedding Vader, and for the first time in decades, once again living as Anakin Skywalker. By having Hayden stand here, it undermines the final act of Anakin returning to the light. Vader thought he had killed Anakin, but in the end, it was Anakin who prevailed. It was this Anakin that fell. This is the true face of Anakin Skywalker now, dealing with all the decisions that he's made over the years. Having grown, having changed, Anakin Skywalker died a Jedi. And this scene should reflect that. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and hey, if you agreed with me, thank you for watching! Please comment below how I'm awesome and correct. If you disagreed with me, like genuinely I want to hear why, okay? I think I've got some pretty decent points, but I'm always open for discussion. I want to know why you think this change was good and necessary. And if you liked the video, even if you disagreed with me, I would really appreciate if you liked, subscribed, watched some other videos. It'd be really cool of you, I'd appreciate it a ton. And please, don't you forget about me. Maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll just make different forgotten puns. Don't you forget about me. I'll see you in the donut hole. I lied, we're going back.